In this video, I'm going to show you how I created the track Royals by Lorde using the Boss RC-505 Mark II. Let's move over now, and you can see the Boss RC-505 Mark II here on the table, and there's only a couple of things I set up to get this track up and running. So in the settings, all I need to do is on menu, I'm going to go into output. You can hear there's a little bit of reverb on my voice, so that's set at 20 on the master effects, which is just there. And for the input effects for this microphone specifically, I'm using phantom power. So if we go into input and you go into setup, then you can see phantom power is switched on mic number 1. For the loop settings, I set it up in the same way I set up an RC-600. So if we go into loop and then we go into record, you can see I've got quantize switched on to measure, and I've got my record play into record dub. So as I record a loop and then I hit it again, it doesn't go into play mode, it goes into overdub mode. It just makes it a little bit faster. If you go back one and you go into track, it doesn't matter which track it is, they're all set as the play mode as multi, so you can play them all together, and they're all set as free. So let's get out of there. And the other thing as well is for this track, I didn't use any of the track effects. That's why my head is up here high, and I'm kind of covering this area because I didn't actually use any of them. So let's set up the input effects of how I set them up for this track. There was only a couple of effects I set up on input effects, so we used B, C, and D. I didn't actually use A, and we start with D. So if we use D, this is a long reverb. The reverb's around about 3 seconds long, and you see in the video that I actually was playing around with this, the amount, the level, how much was actually being pumped out to the sound. The next one I actually used was input effect B, and this is my bass. I always put B for bass. Just seems to be a mind map for me. So this is our bass. And this is guitar to bass, and this is on about 64%, and this is mode number 2. 1, 2, 3, hello, hello, hello. Then the other one we've got as well is input C, and this is actually a harmony on manual, and it's an octave higher. So down, 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 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can still hear me, but then if we sing like, every song's like gold teeth, grey goose dripping in the bathroom, and that's where it comes in, just to give another voice. So we've got our input effects set, and we've got the looper set up the way I want it, and then we start with having this switched on, 1, 2. And the first thing we're going to do is actually create our beat. So you can see there straight away, it goes into overdub mode. It just makes it a lot faster. You don't have to double tap. And then also you can hear me adding some clicks in. So we've got a boom, buka, and then clicking. And then the next track along is actually hi-hats. Now I had the reverb still on, but dialing down a little bit and also being a bit careful with how you're using it. So we've got a hi-hat on a separate track to the kick and snare. If you think of the original song, it literally starts with a boom, book, boom, 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 book. And then you've got the first line, which is never saw a diamond in the flesh. And then this will kick in when we bring in the chorus back. Next is our bass, and we're going to bring our bass in. So now we've got our bass line in. You can hear it's longer. You can see it's physically longer in the loop, and that's because it's in free mode, and it's also quantized, so therefore it'll just match up to the nearest bar. Now the only other loop that I use in this is where I actually sing Royals, ooh, and then you hear me sing Royals, and then in the original track you hear the ooh, ooh, ooh. So I'm going to lay down the harmonies, and then we've got our track. Royals, ooh, Royals, ooh, Royals. So we've got everything we need, and in the video you saw that I had tracks 1, 2, 3, and 5 going, and then I just took away 2, 3, and 5. And then this is where we start singing the actual verse. So we've got everything here, and then what I can do is bring this back down, I'll turn the reverb back on, and we'll start singing the song. I never saw a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings in the movies, and I'm not proud of my address. In a ton of town, no postcode envy. So this is where we bring in two different things, and then what we do is we bring back the bass, which is loop number 3, and I start turning on input C, which is the other voice, the octave above. So from the verse, I'm going to go into the pre-chorus, and then I'll bring this in. In a ton of town, no postcode envy, but every song's like goat teeth, grey goose dripping in the bathroom, bloodstains, ball gowns, trash in the hotel room. We don't care. We're driving Cadillacs in our dreams. Everybody's like crystal, Maybach, diamonds in your timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on a gold leash. We don't care. We're caught up in your love affair. Let me just turn the reverb off. So therefore you're going to hit the all start stop, and therefore you can sing the last line. We're caught up in our love affair, and we'll never be. And this is where you'll hit all start stop again, and then bring everything back. So you've got your royals, you've got the hi-hats, you've got all 4 tracks. And we'll never be royals. It don't want it in our blood. That kind of luck's just ain't for us. We crave a different kind of buzz. Let me be your ruler. You can call me King B, and baby I'll rule. Let me live your fantasy. Now that's where I actually stopped the video, and there's a couple of things you could do to take this a bit further. Track 5 actually goes, royals, ooh. But the second time round in the chorus is actually ruler. You could be your ruler, ruler. So you could actually put this on track 4 if you wanted to, and then just have the harmonies on a separate track. So we could go, royals, ruler, and it depends on where you want to put it, but you could turn 4 and 5 on and off and do it that way. Obviously this was an experiment to see if I could actually do the track on the RC-505 Mark II, and if you have found this breakdown useful, then give it a thumbs up. If you haven't seen the original track, well, it's just down there. Ooh, yeah, 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 royals, and baby I'll rule. Let me live that fantasy.